Welcome to another episode of the brand called You. This is a show that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, it is my privilege to welcome a very successful professional and entrepreneur, Satyam Darmora. Satyam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Archita.
Satyam is from, Thank you. Satyam is from IIT Delhi and IIM Bangalore. He has worked with American Express and the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. And he's now the CEO and founder of i2e, which is information to everyone. That is free internet to over 3 million people across 10,000 locations. Satyam is also a member of the National Skill Development Corporation. So Satyam, tell me a little bit about your early work.
Sure, Ashutosh. My first job was with American Express, Ashutosh, and that was a big change in my life because I come from a very remote area near Himalayas, not even a road going up to our village. So we have never even thought of life which was beyond even seeing a ceiling fan or a bicycle. Right? And fortunately, my first job was in Japan, in Tokyo, which was another extreme of when it comes to development. And so I started from there at American Express, worked in different countries before realizing that I wanted to come back to India and do something which can impact lives of people around us. It was a very fruitful journey at American Express where I was able to contribute in professional capacities, learned a lot. And in early in your career, being part of a large structured organization which is known for its culture, American Express is class apart when it comes to the kind of culture it cultivates. Amazing journey. Yeah, so that was the first part. And then when I decided that I wanted to be in India, do something more meaningful, MSDF, which is the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, came as an opportunity. Around the same time, I also read that you need to spend 10,000 hours before you start to learn something in real ways, right? So the apprenticeship of 10,000 hours was playing on the mind. They say that it is equivalent to 7 years. So I worked at MSDF almost like an intern for 7 years and 7 days. Wow. Exactly. Right. And I was fortunate to work in areas of education, skill training, and financial services, which was the portfolio I was managing there.
Wonderful. And that is when you decided to set up i2e1. So tell me about i2e1.
Sure. So there was a very strong belief because of one's personal as well as professional learnings in life that everybody wants to be successful. To be successful, we need to see big dreams and then make them come true. But the problem is a very large section of our society is not even able to see dreams because they don't even know about what exists. And that information acts as a big hurdle. So I can't see big dreams because I don't know about it. I mean, I'm a great example. Had not even heard of something called IIT. Family was confused between ITI and engineering when we first heard of it. So how do you dream that big if you do not have right information? And once you start to dream, you also need to then have tools to make those dreams come true. Again, those tools come through information. So the way world has changed, there was a very strong belief that information is super powerful. It can help people to see their dreams and realize their dreams. And that is the genesis of i2e1. It did not start as a product first company. It started as a vision that using information as a tool will create products that will impact lives of 500 million people by 2022. And that is what excites us, aspires us on a day-to-day basis. As just saying, Ashwin, then coming from that dream, our own dream was how do we make information easily available for people? So in 2015, when we started to believe that internet is like a new common good. It's like water and air.
Yeah.
It is not enough if we say there is water available throughout the country. थोड़ा बहुत पानी तो सब जगह मिलता है. No, that's not enough. For you to have a healthy, productive life, you need to have clean water. You need to have enough water, and it has to be something which is a fundamental right of everyone. Right from day one, we have strongly believed that internet is the new common good. It has to be available to everyone in enough quantities, in good ways, so that they can make the best use of it. That's where the journey started.
Okay. So when you say, internet has to be available or i2e1 does it, I have not understood what are you doing as compared to all the telecom companies?
Sure. Let's look at some numbers, Ashutosh, right? India, for example, an average Indian spends less than 1 hour on internet.
Hmm.
Whereas if you compare it with China, average spend per day is around 5 hours.
Hmm.
If you look at internet penetration in India, we're still at less than 50%. So in a country of 1.3 billion, still millions of people cannot afford it. Yes, Geo has completely changed the market. Before Geo, 1 GB of internet was for 200 rupees.
Right.
Right? And 1 GB of internet is the amount of internet which you and I are going to consume in these 30 minutes of video call. That
Absolutely.
means I can't do anything else
Yeah.
if I have only that much internet. Now that has changed a lot, but still for us to make productive use of this internet, an average person requires around 10 GB of internet on a daily basis
Hmm.
if they have to utilize it. The irony is then, as we go into lower income areas, there is a single phone which is used amongst 5 family members.
Hmm.
The cheapest plan comes for around 200 rupees with limited internet.
Right.
That's not enough, right? Because that is, if everybody in the family needs to have 1 GB of internet every day, you have to spend around 10% of your monthly income. And this is for an average Indian family. I'm not even talking about like very, very poor.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a world which you and I are used to where internet seems pretty cheap,
Hmm.
but then there are a lot of people who do not get it. What we believe is there's possibility of creating business model where it is available for free. Now, if Gmail can be free, if Zoom can be free, if something else can be free, why can internet not be free?
Correct.
Now, that's the fundamental problem we are trying to solve. For us, telcos are our partners because they have all the infrastructure. They make it available that internet can be taken to a particular place.
Okay.
We're creating a business model on top of it to make it free for someone who wants to use it. That's the difference.
I see. And then, even though the prices of internet are dropping significantly, there is still a cost.
There's still a cost, and it
How
costs
do
a
you how
lot.
do you recover your cost?
Sure. So we have a very simple, interesting model. We say, "Ek sawal internet ka."
Hmm.
We provide free internet in very low income areas where houses would be at around like 8, you can say maybe around 20 to 30 square feet kind of small houses.
Sure.
We identify a small shopkeeper in that slum area.
Hmm.
Using our technology, we have created a plug and play device which costs us very, very low, and that's the proprietary technology that we've created, which can easily share that internet in a very large amount of area using Wi-Fi. When people come onto Wi-Fi, they're asked of one very simple question, which is about their preference.
Hmm.
The question can be as simple as, do you like Salman Khan more or Shah Rukh Khan more, BJP more or Aam Aadmi Party more, or for that matter, it can be about Parle-G versus Horlicks.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, while at the front end model looks fairly simple, I suppose what we are doing is we are creating a state of the art real time market research platform, which is unprecedented because I have all the user information,
Right.
I know the location, our devices are profiling them over time.
Hmm.
On a daily basis, we have around 20 to 25,000 real time responses that we can get within 5 minutes
Hmm.
from the time somebody wants to understand. Now, you extrapolate it over an entire city or an entire country, you actually have almost like Google Analytics for offline world, which almost doesn't exist.
Hmm.
So that's the primarily business model.
I see.
Tech which manages the front end in a very low cost, scalable way, and analytics at the back end, which is top class and gives us real insights.
Amazing. Quite amazing. So, you're doing some amazing work taking internet and empowering people. And it has generally been said that connectivity leads to empowerment. Empowerment in terms of information, empowerment in being able to express my views, to speak my mind, etc., etc. You have gone into some of the most internet challenged areas of our country.
Yeah.
How have you seen changes happen?
Information, I mean, it's just transformational, right? Prior to we knowing that something exists, we can only dream of a particular level. The day you know something like this also exists, your life completely changes.
Yeah.
We know of this small girl Jyoti, which is where our first hotspot was set up. That time she was in grade 6,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now when you meet her, she tells us about the latest app. And once she tells me about that education app, 3 months later in economic times, you will see that this app has now got funding because it's really amazing.
Amazing.
Right?
Wow.
Now, the entire information flow now seems to be completely different. A child who is living in a slum area probably got admission into a high-end school because of right to education, but there is no support system at home.
Mm.
now comes and is addicted to all kind of educational apps, like anything, is completely knows about what to do. And in the last conversation, talking about doing a journalism course from New York.
Hmm.
Just look at the aspirations which have come, and I'm sure they'll also get fulfilled. Right? This is one Jyoti.
Hmm.
There are millions of such
I'm sure.
stories, and they keep inspiring us every day.
I'm sure. Quite amazing. So let's move on. When I was reading about you, I said that, I saw that you have partnered with Facebook to solve the connectivity problem in India. If it's not confidential, what is the scope of this partnership and how do you define connectivity?
Sure. So see, we are trying to take internet which is high speed and is enough for productive usage to people who are otherwise not able to afford it,
Okay.
or areas which are not being served by larger internet service providers.
Hmm.
And there are various technical reasons for which people are not able to do it. This partnership is about how do we use our technology in support with Facebook and reach out to thousands of such locations. We are one of the largest partners of Facebook. The idea is giving connectivity, giving internet to those people who are otherwise not able to use it, and also helping them to better understand how to use internet. Now, that's a very interesting part. Even today in India, there are only 100 million people who transact online,
Okay.
though we have got 500 million internet users.
Hmm.
The reason is, and which probably, if you compare it with China, is very interesting. China had a disadvantage because of English,
Hmm.
but then that disadvantage over a long run, in a way, turned in a very different way because of a lot of internet companies which are China based and developed things which were vernacular.
Right.
India, on the other hand, we adopted everything in English. Therefore, most of our internet companies actually started as a replica of something which existed in US.
Right.
So we have like, and that's why, and एक जो आम हिंदुस्तानी है,
Hmm.
he doesn't understand that app language, right? He doesn't even, I mean, it's not only about translating it in Hindi. It is about making it for his context.
Correct.
And therefore, majority of the apps are struggling after 100 million. The user doesn't have enough faith to transact. He doesn't understand what is this cart. Suddenly, he's never seen a cart in his life, but in Amazon, he used to add things to his cart. Whereas, if you look at China, there are a lot of big internet companies who came who were primarily developed in Chinese.
Hmm.
Vernacular content companies which were created. Now, when companies are trying to do it in India, they need to understand this market really well. Right? So, we're also helping a lot of these companies to understand the real Bharat market and open up opportunities for them by connecting with these people.
Hmm.
So there are two parts to connectivity. One is internet connectivity, and that is the second is the product connectivity that we're trying to bring in to this part.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So what you're really saying is that not knowing English actually turned out to be an advantage for China.
If you look at the way internet companies have grown there and the penetration of internet, which is, I'm talking about now usage, right? Like I said, an average Chinese is spending 5 hours, an average Indian is spending 1 hour. And that also most of the time either TikTok or YouTube, because video is the only channel that they're familiar with. They've been watching TVs for decades now,
Right.
so now watching TV on internet. But are they really using it? Are they doing it for education? Are they doing it for convenience? Are they doing it for productivity? Numbers are really low in India today.
Right. Right. Very interesting. So my next question to you is that you're working in areas which are really almost entirely controlled or governed by politicians and bureaucrats.
Yeah.
What's it like to work with the new age bureaucrats that we are beginning to see under this government?
So interestingly, and this is probably from my experience working at MSDF, where I work with government pretty closely, and have been on some of the government committees like NSDC. My perception has changed over time. There are some bureaucrats who are amazing set of people, really want to make a change, and very strong intellectuals. I mean, the way they look at the problems and the way the thought process that they're able to bring in is just amazing.
Hmm.
Challenge, though, at times seems to be they're not natural risk takers,
Hmm.
and therefore the decision making or the execution of that takes longer time, and that's probably because of the structure of it at all. Politicians are natural risk takers. They want things to be done as of yesterday. and bureaucrats want things to be done as of tomorrow.
Okay.
That makes things really difficult at times to get executed. However, good trend seems to be that there are bureaucrats who are applying themselves, taking more long-term shots
Mm.
rather than thinking of shorter-term changes, and that's a great thing.
Mm.
And so will a lot of new age politicians across all party lines, right? Where we are shifting from the traditional agendas of caste and gender and religion to more about yes, development has to happen. The only challenge seems to be one wheel wants to run really fast and the other one just is taking its own time.
Correct. Correct. Very interesting. So I've got one more question for you on I2E1, and then I'll move to the next segment. You know,
Yeah.
Satyam, we are all talking of millennials and Gen Z and so on and so forth, and how they're making a change in the world. And when we think of rural India, there are millennials and Gen Zs there as well.
Yeah.
You gave me the example of Jyoti and how she has almost changed her life because of the internet. How is the general young group of Indians, millennials and Gen Zs, reacting to so much more bandwidth being made available to them? Are they just staying with entertainment, or are they doing it for using it for other things?
It's not a great statistics. I think it's a statistic that should worry us. Around 77 to 78% of usage that we have seen on the network primarily happens for entertainment.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean that entertainment is not important. I'm a strong proponent that, irrespective of which demographic you come from, you have a right to have entertainment also in life,
Mm.
and that is primarily, which is primarily video based. Right? Another 17 to 18% is happening on social apps, right? And it's only 5% which is actually going towards the real productive usage that internet can bring,
Correct.
either surfing or learning things. Uh, those who are understanding it, and there are case studies, of someone who prepared his entire IAS exam sitting at Kerala railway station and finally got through it. But those are rare and few. The challenge is, like I said, there are probably not as many relevant products for the segment, and
Right.
therefore the segment would tend to go towards the same old videos
Mm.
and watch it. The second problem also is of when change happens too fast. We also have to understand that we are a very interesting, strange society, and I'll give you a very interesting example.
Yeah.
Uh, One of our partner organization was really struggling because the elderly males in society were not letting girls use their app.
I see.
One of the biggest apps in the world, which almost everybody uses.
Mm.
Whereas they're perfectly okay using, their daughters using all other kind of messenger apps. Right?
Mm.
The fear that they have was कि अगर ये app use करेगी तो लड़की बिगड़ जाएगी, इसका चक्कर चलेगा और ये भाग जाएगी. This is what they believe in, right? Right or wrong, that's a different thing.
Correct.
As we got deeper into that, and while the same girl is using a messenger app, she is in touch with friends and everyone else, but a huge difference, right? And the nuance was so beautiful. The first app which people are saying that you will not use, what happens is, the moment you create an account, the first thing it asks you is add friends,
Mm.
and that's what any social app does, add friends. Friends in Hindi in that circuit is considered more like a boyfriend. So the elderly will say, oh, this app is telling कि लड़कों से दोस्ती करो,
Mm.
तो आप नहीं करोगे.
Mm.
Whereas another app, which is just asking you to be in touch with contacts or post your photographs that people are liking and you're still in conversation, is not using that word add friends in the journey. And that makes all the difference. So there are many other such examples as to, but we have to look at the cultural identity of India, create products that are more suited. Otherwise, things are difficult.
Very interesting. So, Satyam, I have time for a few questions for you personally now.
Sure.
My first question is that, transition from the corporate world into doing something which is in the social sector, if I can use that term. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
Life has been fortunate, Ashish, if I look at the journey I was able to traverse. My inspiration comes from people around, those who those who had big dreams, those who achieved those dreams in spite of all the hurdles.
Mm.
So, from all underdog stories, where a person came from areas where situations were not favorable, but still made it. Gives a lot of inspiration. The beauty is, it is in every second or third person. So you meet someone. In fact, I was looking at your journey of the entire Guardian Pharmacy. Lots of ups and downs. Every such interaction becomes an inspiration, right? And there's so much of inspiration that you feel like, oh, I'm such a small drop in the ocean. What else can we do? So thanks to a lot of successful people like you and many others. Yes.
I think that's very nice. Thank you. So my next question to you is that if you, Satyam, were a role model to millions of children who closely followed you and your life choices, what is the one thing you would change in yourself?
I'm sure there are a lot of things that need to be changed about me. But I wish I was slightly more disciplined. One, when it comes to managing personal and professional life, as well as I love to dream. I want to change the world. I want to change, in fact, millions of lives. Right? But then it also has to be grounded in the reality of execution.
Correct.
Maybe I can do a better balance of the two things.
Yes. Well said. Well said. The next question is that what does success mean to you?
Impacting lives of people around you. If that one can do that in life, in lifetime, the more people that you can impact and help transform their lives, the bigger is your success.
Okay. My next question to you is that, if you could gain one ability or quality you admire in someone else, what would you choose?
Endurance, perseverance, not giving up. I love the flash of Usain Bolt, but I just admire marathon runners. Yeah, life is a long run.
Okay.
Anyone who plans it well and wins it well is an inspiration.
Wonderful. So I have time for two more questions now for you.
Sure.
Next question is that what is the most outrageous thing you have done ever?
I think when during student life, I've been more of an activist, and in that activist thing have done things which are not considered legal ways of protest.
Okay.
I would stop at that. Yes, there have been part of certain movements that have been part of where just because you are young, you are like in that student life, and say bus ko todna hai, jalana hai, whatever. Right? I would say exactly what I did, but yes, being part of that thing today looks outrageous.
Okay. And my last question to you, and this relates to our life because of the pandemic. How are you rethinking your life and your work in the new world order?
So specifically for the work that we like to do, which is, we want to enable digital dreams for the next 500 million people.
Correct.
Post-COVID, in the new era, this has become even more of a need. Classes have shifted online. What really pains me is that all those kids who are going to, who are in that 25% bucket of a really good school, schools are running online classes. For you to attend an online classes, you need 6 to 8 GB of internet every day.
Right.
Getting that 6 to 8 GB of internet means another 1,500 rupees of expenses. Plus, you need to have a device. Right? Now, this means that there is even a bigger responsibility for companies like us to come up with innovative solutions so that the post-COVID reality does not hit a larger section of society. Right? How do we make sure that we are able to, we are now working on a new product where we're working with small merchants that helps them to get a digital identity so that 5 years from now, it should not be the case where they say, Alexa, अगर आपको नहीं जानती तो आप exist ही नहीं करते. Because everybody would be asking Alexa. Right? So, and the phrase that we have is, मेरे पास सब कुछ है, दुकान है, सामान है, लेकिन Alexa मुझे नहीं जानती. We don't want that unfortunate situation to happen for people.
Amazing. That's such a nice line. Fantastic. So, Satyam, thank you very much. It has been such a pleasure speaking to you, and I wish i2e1 lots and lots and lots of success. And God bless you with all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It was great talking to you.
Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.